Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council meeting is called to order. With following now through roll call.
Mayor Regenauer.
Here.
Earl.
Here.
Knox. Here. Miller.
Here.
Neely.
Here.
Newland.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. So approved. Fiscal officer report.
$1,630,110.07 in all funds, $277,776.40 in the general fund.
Additions.
We did have additions today, which you should all have a copy of that. There's another payroll today.
Bills were read. Resolution 18-5-1 was adopted on a motion by.
Earl.
Yes.
Knox.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Neely.
Yes.
Newland.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right, we'll go to committee reports.
That's kind of under the committee on the,
Building committee?
yes, yeah. I had some neighbors come down to me about a property in the Parkland Edition on the corner of, let's see, I just wrote it all out. It's brought to my attention, some concerned residents in the Parkland Edition, that on the corner of the state of disrepair, on the corner of Tussing and Maple Street, the house on the corner of Tussing and Maple. The residents, they have done nothing to this place in the last 5 years. There's still cement blocks they put on as a temporary repair to the roof. They're still on there after 3 years, almost 4 years, that they just put up there to hold the roof down. There's constant debris in the yard. They don't mow. They've mowed one time this year so far. There's rodents, raccoons. The buildings are just, what do you call buildings of any kind? And it's a nuisance. And these people are trying to fix up around there, and then they want something done about it.
Okay.
And they are actually begging me to see if we can do something about it, along with 2 other properties on Maple Street that are mobile homes, that they constantly are throwing junk in the yards. A couch that they just threw in the yard and left it there. A refrigerator and tires and junk, and they just leave it lay in the yard without cleaned up for months at a time. And the same thing, they don't mow regularly, and they just want us to address it and see what we can do about it. And I had 3 different sets of neighbors in that neighborhood come talk to me about it. He said, "That's what we voted you in for, do something about it." I said, "Okay, so I'll bring it up."
Well, it sounds to me like the property maintenance committee should investigate and report back to council as
Yes, that would be my
the
recommendation.
recommendation would be.
I'm on the property maintenance committee, and
Okay.
Rhonda's on it too, and she
And,
knows.
and I have looked at it and seen what the
She's aware of the
situation.
situation too.
Okay, so
Tussing and where?
Maple.
what council would need is a recommendation and what you feel the violations, make a list of what you feel the violations would be.
Part of it's on the same side, part of it's
According to
catty corner across.
what ordinances and so on that we have. What else would they need?
I mean, we just need to figure out specifically, I think, what is, like you said, what is wrong with the property, what violations are there. And then, you're gonna have to go through the procedure of, sending out notices and giving the people a opportunity to correct the problem.
Right.
So I would first at least figure out what exactly is in violation before you can even send those notices.
So, who else on it? Rhonda, you're?
Rhonda.
Yeah.
So,
Barb, I think.
Barb's on too, okay.
Well, then I guess my suggestion would be for you to meet and take a look at the property, bring it back, your recommendation to council as to what you feel. I mean, it sounds to me like there's a lot of things.
Yeah,
okay?
that's several.
Bring back at least just a few of the most, yeah.
Egregious.
Okay, and
issues.
so because we're gonna have to draft a letter to send to whoever the property owner is and give a timeline on what we expect and so on, and try to get it resolved. If we can't get it resolved that way, then we'll have to take other actions to get it done.
Hey, it's just, these people are just trying to clean up around there, and they gotta go out their front door and look at this stuff every day,
Sure.
and it's been this way constantly, and no intentions of them getting that better. And I understand, I really do understand, and it's all young families back there.
Right.
And I just understand.
Well, I think we can get the problem remedied. We just have to take proper steps and start addressing, we can think what.
Yeah, we
should
gotta
happen.
take steps without being
Yeah.
jerks about it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I understand.
And most people, just like mowing their grass or anything else, a lot of times all you have to do is ask.
And
And sometimes a good measure is to talk to the people first.
well, yeah.
We always have to give the first attempt.
Sure.
So,
Or get some goats. Get some goats.
okay.
With some pictures of these properties taken,
That would,
advisable.
Yeah.
do we have a camera, village camera we could use for that?
Really, I don't think we do we?
If
That would take anything better than a cell phone.
if you want me to take pictures, I mean, the police department has a good camera. I
Okay.
can run down and take pictures of the property. That's not a problem.
Okay.
I can also assist in maybe pointing out some of the different violations that we have on the books. I'm familiar with the basic code. I'm familiar with
Okay.
the statutes. Ultimately, this is the property maintenance committee is council, but I've got a whole litany of notices that I've created over the years, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in my report. But I can assist with that. So.
Great. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Any other committee reports? The police report?
All right, well, we'll just start right in about the tall grass notices, since we're talking about it. On May 14th, the first round of tall grass notices was issued to 14 residential properties inside the village. Per the Ohio Basic Code, whenever residential property's grass exceeds 12 inches in height, a violation has occurred. Typically, when the first warning letters are sent out, most of the properties are addressed properly. That seems to be the case this round. Where we usually see the problem is with vacant properties. The village in many cases ends up mowing the property, and the property owner is then sent the bill. If the bill is not paid, the amount of money owed is then assessed to the property taxes. I didn't get a chance with some things that were going on today to drive through the village, but I did notice usually within the first day or so that I know the notices were delivered, majority of the properties that got notices were taken care of. There are two that I know of right now that after this rain may be several feet in height, but that will be addressed. I think with sometime this week, whenever it gets dry enough to mow, the village will probably take care. One is a vacant property, and another is a property that is not vacant. However, the tenant has said he is not mowing it, and it's up to his landlord to take care of it. He's also moving out of that property, and so I think he's trying to pull a fast one on the property owner, but that's between him and the property owner as far as I'm concerned. So the village will be taking care of those two properties. That notice, it states very clearly that once a property is issued a tall grass notice, they get one per calendar year. So if they are in violation anymore this calendar year, they won't get any subsequent notices. The village will then follow up every time the grass is 12 inches or higher. They will mow it. But typically what we find is they get the first notice, and that's enough of a shock, because it states how much the village charges to mow the property, which is $200 an hour plus $5 a gallon in fuel, with a minimum of 1 hour and 1 gallon of fuel use. So typically when they see that $205 bill right away, they can do it cheaper than what the village does it. And the cost is derived from having 2 of our employees going out, our equipment being used, that type of thing. That's how the $200 rate was set several years ago behind that. So it's not like it's just a made-up number. There was research done to come to that amount. But most people feel they can mow their yard cheaper than $205 an hour, so they take care of it themselves. But we have historically had some properties that have racked up pretty healthy bills, and I think we've been reimbursed for that through the course of property taxes. So we don't want to mow properties. The village does not want to be in the mowing business, but we also want to keep, like Rob said, rodents down and weeds from spreading, to neighbors and that type of thing. So that's where we're at with the tall grass notices. As you can see here in council chambers, it's kind of a big white elephant right over here. The safe medication disposal box. We now have a way for people to discard their old, expired, and/or unused prescriptions or over-the-counter medications. We can only accept pills or capsules, though. Needles, liquids, inhalers, aerosols, that type of thing, we cannot accept because we don't have the license to dispose of those. This box was donated by Rite Aid, and the police department's only requirement is to weigh and report the amount collected before having the medications destroyed. The motivation behind Rite Aid making the donation is to try to limit children's accessibility to the drugs. Now, when I say having the medications destroyed, it still will not cost the village any money, because what we can do is we document everything, and then the sheriff's office has a drug box as well that we can actually take our medications over, dispose of it in there, and then on drug take back day, it's a day across the country that these companies come in and destroy the medications at no cost. So it's completely free. Our guys, the only thing we had is our guys anchored it to the floor so nobody comes in and tries to steal it and get away with a bunch of disposed medications. So I would say it's probably as rugged as our ATM, as far as the design and how it's anchored into the floor and that type of thing. So there's not a real good chance that they're going to steal it. One of the requirements in Ohio is it has to be monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we do have a camera right above me here that is constantly on that. So when we're not open for business hours, it's still being monitored. So if somebody does try to break in or whatever, we have that safeguard in place to at least be able to try to identify who that is. So that's why it's in that location, not over here by the window, or so the camera can be on it. And it really isn't a bad spot right there. So and when people come in and pay their utility bills, they walk right past it and see it, and it's a good way for people to know that we have this service available to them. Let's see. In the past month, I arrested Samantha Jane Helton, 29 years old, of Lima. She was arrested for multiple theft warrants that were issued here in Ohio and in Indiana. Samantha provided the wrong social security number multiple times when she was asked for identification. However, she did admit to having warrants for arrest in Seneca County, in Ohio, DeKalb County in Indiana, Allen County in Indiana, as well as here in Auglaize County. Well, she was not aware of her warrants in Auglaize County, but I informed her of that. So she was arrested and taken to the Auglaize County Jail. Not sure if she's still there or not, or if she's been shipped. Once Ohio gets done with her, then she'll go to Indiana. But she explained that she was going to be in prison for several years for her offenses in Indiana. So those were her words. So I don't know what happened over there, but that started on a simple speeding violation. They're speeding through South Westminster when I was down there, and it kind of went from there. So even the minor infractions turn into major things sometimes. The Waynesfield Raceway, speaking of South Westminster Street, is back in action most Saturday nights. Now, this coming Sunday, they run a big race, so there'll be quite a few people in town Sunday. I will be working probably then, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But with that, as is typically the case, the traffic complaints both at the stoplight and on South Westminster Street have started to come in. I have had, as I just alluded to, an increased presence on South Westminster Street during race nights, and the complaints do appear to be valid, as I've written several speeding citations during that time. The traffic light's not so troublesome, though there have been a few vehicles that try to beat the light when they should have stopped. I'll continue to monitor and work both those areas as well as other areas in town. As most of you know, you see my lights flashing on a regular basis, so I try to keep that in mind. Lastly, Click It or Ticket begins today and runs through June the 3rd. This is a national initiative that we typically participate in. By participating, of course, we're encouraging safe driving behaviors, as well as trying to limit the number of fatal crashes and serious crashes. But by also doing that, we become eligible for equipment and grant opportunities through the Ohio Traffic Safety Office and the National Enforcement Mobilization Organizations. So we've done this for a number of years. We actually received a free radar through the program several years ago. And you know, it's just, we enforce obviously the traffic laws all throughout the year, seatbelts throughout the year. This is just one of those times that it's to bring into focus that you know, we just add an extra emphasis on the importance of wearing a seatbelt and that type of thing. So, with that, I'm finished. Unless anyone has questions.
Chief? All right, we'll go to the administrator's report. Fred couldn't be here this evening. Like he had.
Yep, he prepared his, so I'm just gonna read it to you. The first thing he has is the bid for the street asphalt and construction of the walking path will be opened at the city building Wednesday, May 23rd.
Let's address that right now, okay? Fred and I talked, and the concern is that Craig Masher thought our meeting was next week, okay? So he was trying to get this bid opening in so they could get construction started. I talked to our solicitor, and my proposal would be to pre-approve the bid as long as it falls within the parameter of the engineer's guesstimate, I guess what you would call, plus minus 10%, and give the engineering firm, which we normally always do, the authority to award to the one he feels, it's not always the cheapest, but the best for the job. So I guess what I would be looking for is to, would that be a resolution? Or
I do it as an ordinance just to be safe.
well, see, then you'd have to declare an emergency.
Emergency, yeah.
Right. What we're trying to do is if we pre-approve this, then we stay on schedule for construction. Otherwise, it's either try to pull off a special meeting to approve it after Wednesday, and with the holidays and everything coming up, it's gonna be a little tough to get everything done. Now, if the bids come way off base and everything, then no foul. So I kind of think it would be important to try to do it this way, try to stay ahead of what's going on. And I don't think it'd be any different than if you pre-approve spending money for, let's say, a police cruiser or a truck or anything else, as long as you stay within the parameters of it, so.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules of 3 readings and declare an emergency. Second.
Okay. Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely, Zimmerman.
Because it deals with money, what is an ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-5-1 to accept the opening of the bids if the bids fall within the parameter of the guidelines.
I second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
And the second thing he has, says the location of the village alley south of West Mulberry Street had came into question after local property owners completed surveys. At which time I had Clayton Bacon and Associates do a survey on behalf of the village to establish our boundaries for the alley. And the result of the survey determined that the village alley was north of the platted alley. It is my recommendation that the village move the alley to the platted area. If you agree, we would establish the new alley prior to removing the current alley as to not adversely affect the residents using the existing alley for access to their property. And then he just kind of asked for some kind of, for you guys to decide something so he can move on to that.
But it's really his decision, since he's really, it will end up not even being our decision in the end, right?
But
It's our decision.
It's
So it is our decision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we take care of this situation right now.
Yep.
Move the alleyway where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Yep.
Miller,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
and that is all he had.
That's all we have.
Yep.
Mayor's Court, $536 is deposited into the general fund for Mayor's Court account for the month of April. That's all I've got there. On this road legislation, we're going to set on that for 45 days?
Yes, 45 days. In order to be able to pass this, you have to send a letter to the Ohio Public Utilities Commission for stating that you're going to do this. And then once they have that, you're only allowed to then act on this legislation 45 days from when you notify the Utilities Commission. So whenever we get that certified letter sent,
Okay, so
then it's going to be 45 days from whenever they receive it.
okay, so it's tabled until that time.
Till that time, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, any other old business? Now, we'll go to new business.
Okay, so the first one we have, this is an ordinance to pay off, the water tower early. It would be 6 years early. And then the remaining balance, we're asking to be transferred into our water repairs and improvements fund back into there, so that when the time comes to repair and improve the water towers, that we'll have that money for that as well. So that's-
Fortunately, we was able to pay off our sewer system, I believe it's 6 or 7 years
It's
early.
ordered, yeah.
And here, once again, we're in a position where we have the funds, and rather than any interest or any delay, hey, if we can pay it off, that would behoove us to do that, and set that other money aside for, like she said, with repairs, maintenance, so on.
Rainy day.
That's one less debt
Yes.
that we have.
Physically responsible for our money.
Well, that's kind of what it's supposed to work.
This was all Judy's
Our credit,
doing,
our
so-
credit score will go up.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rule of 3 readings and declare an emergency.
A second.
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely, Zimmerman.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-5-2, an ordinance authorizing the payoff of the water tower, transfer of the remaining funds in the debt service fund, adjustment of current monthly transfer to debt service fund, and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely, Zimmerman. The second one we have is for a video service fee. And I'm not really sure exactly what it is, except TSC came in and said we need to start charging them this fee, so we said, okay.
It's kind of like our pole usage fee that Time Warner Spectrum paid, you know, if anytime somebody attaches to any of our poles or anything like that, we can and should charge for that. So that's what this is. And a lot of companies, rather than let it ride and then find out later that, oh, you owe us a ton of money, they'd rather get this out of the way first, so they know what they're paying for this.
Does that affect the cost of the people that's attaching to it, as far as their rate?
No,
Okay.
no.
So who sets the fee then? We do, or?
It says in here, the amount of 5% of the video service provider's gross revenues as defined by the Ohio Revised Code.
Yeah, it's all under revised code. Like on our pole usage, it used to be we charged like $2.50, okay? And then, I'm not sure what year, but it raised to what, $7.50? I think is what it
Yeah.
is. And that's normal practice for the industry, to do that. And they're stating what your limitations are by the Ohio Revised Code.
So $7.50 a pole then? For
No,
every
that-
pole or every pole they use?
That's what I'm telling you that we did with Time Warner
Okay.
at the time.
Okay.
I don't, once I calculate to, you know, how do we know that number?
For the polls, for like time, or for
No.
this time.
Gross revenues. That's all.
Well, usually what happens, like, when I get some, not this particular fee, but the state will send it, it comes, it'll show what their revenues are, and
Okay.
then it'll break it down. So I don't know if this is a revenue just based off of Waynesfield usage, or if it's their whole, I'm assuming Waynesfield usage, would you guess?
I mean, that would be my assumption. Like
Yeah.
I said, I have not looked at this fairly extensively,
Yeah.
but it's all, it seems like it's mandated by the Ohio Revised Code,
Yeah.
so I'm sure the state is involved.
That would be my guess. is
So there probably
Waynesfield
isn't
revenue.
what I'd say, a true
Sure,
number.
true number right now.
But we
Right.
have to enact it, so whatever the number is, we get it, so.
Probably gonna come out some extra money at least, regardless what happens. I'll make a motion to suspend the rule of 3 readings and declare an emergency.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-5-3, an ordinance enacting video service fees and declare an emergency.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, and the last one I have is, once again, to amend the appropriations. And on this one, since we had so many, I kind of broke it down and put what each one was for. So you guys had an idea. of why I'm asking to amend those.
On this paper, instead of 1711, should that be 1811?
Yes. Copy and paste, copy and paste.
Must've been a rough week.
It was.
I'm making a motion to suspend the rule of 3 readings and declare an emergency.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-5-4, an ordinance to amend appropriation 18-1-1 and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're open for discussion on any new business.
Is this important for us to attend?
It's up to you. It's not required, it's just, they sent it and asked me to disperse it, so I did. That presenter I've heard several times and she does do a very good job, but I think it's in the evening, so I don't know if that works for everybody or not, but.
Just informational.
Yeah, just that.
If there's no other new business, solicitor, you got anything?
I am happy to report that I have nothing to report at this time.
That's because you've been gone for too much.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Knox,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Neely,
Yeah.
Zimmerman,